Whew. So just stand by about 15 seconds and I'll start. Just stand by about 15 seconds and I'll. And there you heard it. That's the background. Welcome to Ability MKE Now. My name is Sue Roscoff. Ability MKE Now is a show all about integration, bringing people that with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities, and here at Ability MKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own, with people we know, or with people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at Ability MKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. Joining us today as my co-host, Michael Martin Hummel. Michael is a writer, speaker, and podcaster who works to bridge the gap between disabled and able-bodied people. So glad to have you here, Michael. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm forward to it.
Excellent. And we have an amazing guest joining us tonight. I want to go ahead and bring her in right away. Oh my goodness, you're going to be excited to get to meet Donna Ricardo. Donna is a naturally introverted person who was once so terrified of people that she couldn't even look someone in the eye and talk to them at the same time. She likes to say that it was divine intervention that led her to speak because there's no earthly reason why she ever would have done that. She dealt with and overcame her fear to become a seminar leader for one of the top personal growth and development companies in the world. Donna is a trained NLP practitioner, that's a neuro linguistic programming practitioner. She's a 14-year veteran of Toastmasters, an organization known for public speaking clubs, and she has earned the highest award of Distinguished Toastmaster. She's an active member of the National Speakers Association. Donna is the best-selling author of Public Speaking for Entrepreneurs: How to Show Up, Speak Up, and Get What You Want for Your Business and Your Life. Donna has been speaking, coaching, and training for over 30 years. She offers speaker training, coaching, and programs through her company, Red Stiletto Get to the Point. Please join me in welcoming Donna. How are you? So glad you're here.
Me too. So glad to meet you. I always see
It's
Kurt on these speed networking things, so that's how
and
we met.
then that's perfect. And I know I've seen your name come through at different places and different points along the way as you guys have been crossing paths. And it's a pleasure for me to get to finally talk to you myself. So, Red Stiletto, tell me a little bit more about your company, and I love your story.
What would you like to know about my company?
So I'm guessing there's a meaning behind Red Stiletto itself. How did that become a symbol of what you're doing?
I'd say that's more of an inspired moment. I don't know that there's any meaning other than I just love fashion and I particularly love shoes. So maybe somewhere in the ether, it came to me when I was looking at what I wanted to do next. And I knew I wanted to help women in particular, but I've helped all kinds of people, people that are older than my ideal client, younger, whatever, men, I mean, all kinds of people. With their speaking. But at the time when I was conceiving this idea, I thought I wanted to help women and that I knew I wanted to be able to go to networking events and show up in my, red heels and people would get to know me, by my shoes and, like that. And I will first of all tell you that is not a business plan. And now I've had this company long enough that happens. I go to a lot of things locally and people say, "Oh, I saw you over there." And I knew that was you from the shoes. But
Oh, I
I was
love that.
it's funny. I was talking with a coach friend of mine at that time, though, and just saying these things to him. And it just came to me, red stiletto, get to the point. I'll help women with their speaking. I'll go to events in my shoes. So it was just an inspired moment. And it wasn't time at that time, but then when it was, it just had never gone away. And I knew that still had to be the name of it.
Perfect. I really do like that, and it stands out. So when people see that shoe style, they can think of you, and it's a trigger of, oh yeah, I need to talk to Donna.
And people do. I mean, a woman not too long ago said, we were going to be both going to this event we're in a local chamber. And so we were going to be both going to this event. She goes, and I saw these red shoes and I had to get them because I thought of you and, going to the event. And she said, I thought if we could get some, bunch of people to wear the red heels and go to the event, like, oh my God, what a riot.
That's beautiful. Actually, that speaks volumes. That tells people, or tells you, that people really like what you're doing. They wouldn't go there and say that if they weren't enjoying what you're providing and with all the things that you're doing. So I'm very curious. So I gotta say, I relate to that whole naturally introverted part. The fact that I've come to hear myself has been something of a journey. I'm really curious with how you got from where you started to where you are now. What really inspired that along the way for this journey to happen?
Let's see. Well, when I was in my 20s, and at that time, I was a hairdresser and I wanted to teach. And I'd gotten some really amazing training, really top notch. And I knew other people weren't going to do what I'd done to get that training. And, move to New York City and, go to the, be Alpha soon and go to these top notch places to get that training because I uprooted my whole life to do that. And so I thought, let me bring it to them. And just somehow my brain did not connect public speaking and teaching. And I had this inspired moment one day when I had completed this apprenticeship and I'm thinking, what's next? Now what? That was a big deal. It took over 2 years. And I'm like, now what? What's next? And I'd walk around the city asking myself that. And one day I had this woo-woo moment. I was just talking to myself, asking these questions, and it came to me, teach. That's all. No further information. No matter how much I, talk to myself in my head, like teach what? What do I do? What does that mean? So I thought, well, it wasn't to be ignored for sure. I'll teach what I have, which at that time was haircutting. And so a great opportunity came along not too much later. And we were all, preparing for this show. And we were very high level, worldwide known in the fashion and beauty industry at that time. And, famous people would come in. We were in all the major magazines every month. We did the fall, fashion week and the collections and all of that. And people from all over the country were coming to this hair show we were putting on. And I asked a couple of people who did this sort of thing that I worked with. I said, well, what do I say? And they both say the same thing. You just talk about what you're doing while you're doing it. And I thought, okay, they say so. And I told myself the words are just going to magically be there when the time comes. So the day of the show, I find myself on stage with the owner and his brother, big names in the industry. I get introduced. Nothing comes out. I mumble something. The front people in the front row go, we can't hear. And I just couldn't get any words out. And so the owner that had introduced me, he took the microphone. He said, I'll speak for her. She has a soft voice. And it was a demonstration of a haircut and he talked my way through it. And after that, I thought, this is so not okay. I mean, I want to do, training for people and I can't even get words out to, do a simple haircut description demonstration. And so I went about learning what to do and how to do it, hence the Toastmasters, the NLP, the things that you mentioned in my intro. And, I got training, I got coaching, I took acting classes, I did spiritual work, I did personal growth work. If it was there to be done, I probably did it in the name of being able to, give what I wanted to give. And eventually I was able to. And then I went on to teach haircutting all over the region in the New York City area. And then I went on to become a trainer in a personal growth and development company that, you mentioned that too. So, and then later on, fast forward all that, I now use all of that in my training with people.
Excellent. I love that. So you had a goal. You saw where you wanted to be and you moved on it. You made the things happen that you needed to in order to get to the end point of and that's huge. That is so huge. People often will get in their own way. They're like, "Well, I'm not comfortable, so I can't do that." Right? So you said, "I'm not comfortable. I need to fix that. I need to do something. I can do this." You knew deep down you can do it. You just had to get there. And I think that's something I not everybody gets past their own stumbling blocks. I think we often get in our own way and are like, "Oh, that's not me." I actually said that years ago. We actually do water skiing. We put on ski shows in the summertime. And that's something that when Kurt and I first met, I'm like, okay, I've skied a couple times, but no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. There's no way. And the short version of the story, after hanging around for a couple years, it actually took the kids of the club coming over and as Kurt would say it, they blinked their big eyes at me like, "Sue, why won't you ski with?" And it's like, okay, I finally got over myself. I'm like, I'll try. Okay, I'll try. I'll try. And now you can't get me to quit. 'Cause I love
The
it.
best.
It
It's the
is just
best.
it's who I am. It's just it totally took me from I'm that introvert and now wait, I'm not only doing something that is a little scary, I'm doing it in front of people. Wait, what? And you got to get out of your own way. And sometimes it takes help to get there. And that's with what you're doing, that you're able to help others go down that road. And with the coaching, and tell me a little bit more about what you do with your business. How do you take a person that comes to you? What do you do with them to help them get to where they want to go?
Well, it depends on where they want to go. So if they're brand new and they've never, and they know they want to get out there, they could be afraid, but they might not be. I help them know what to do to get started. And if they're going to have to get in touch with speaker coordinators and what that person is going to need, and we have a little process that I take them through. And other people, maybe they have an audience already, or they've been doing it somewhat, but they've been winging it, and they want to show up polished and professional now. So I work with them to be able to have a talk that really is polished and lands and communicates clearly, and they get to make an offer. And so I those are the main things that I work with them on.
Excellent. And with all of this, what do you enjoy most? What's your favorite part of what you do?
I think my favorite part is the people which I didn't really mention, but they're the people who have a project, and they might have like a talk to give. Like I had this young lady last year. She was something called, I'd never heard of this before, an evidential medium. So it means she had to do this rigorous training program to prove that she was actually getting in touch with those that have passed, and
Oh,
like getting
wow.
messages from, does that give you goosebumps? And getting
Yes.
messages from people to give to their people. And she was going to be giving a talk to people that it was a conference to people that had lost someone in their lives to suicide, and she was the keynote, right? And so when she first came to me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go. But what I love about all of that is I don't know how it's going to go, and it unfolds with the person. So somebody that has the project and we work on it together, and it's creative and it's collaborative and very interactive, and I love doing those kind of projects.
Oh, that's amazing. As I'm thinking about with you doing speaking yourself, what's been your favorite, whether it's your favorite topic or if there was an event that was your favorite that stands out in your mind for some reason? I love stories, so this is perfect.
I've got lots of them. So I think, well, mostly I speak about speaking. Although I have had this idea I would like to speak about, and then you'll totally get this, about belonging. And I'm not really sure
Ooh.
what I want to say about it, other than it's like beyond important, like extremely important that people feel like they belong. And so far, I'm just kind of waiting for the rest of it to come to me. And in the meantime, I speak about speaking. So, and because I just think it's really, really important that, that people are getting out there and saying what they have to say. And even those, little nervous Nancy's that maybe haven't done it before, you all start somewhere. And there's almost nothing that I can't help somebody with, because I've had all the terrible things happen.
And that's how we learn, right? And that's something the older I get, the more I can appreciate that whole thought of I'm going to learn from this experience, even if the experience wasn't what I had in mind and didn't go the way I wanted. What am I supposed to learn from this? There's a message here somewhere. And I gotta say, when I think about my daughter being at the age she is and looking forward to what career might I want, she's at that point. I feel like she's on such a different level than I was at her age. She's
Mm.
got she's got so many more things at her fingertips, and that she's had experiences already that took me, oh my gosh, I was well into my career before I was at a point of thinking some of these processes through of where do I really want to end up and how am I going to get there? And there's so much available, and it just brings me back to that whole thing of getting out of my own way. How do I put myself in a mind frame where I can do whatever is in front of me. I can take this on. I can get up on stage, even if I'm scared to death. I can get up there and I can do this. And there's a lot of it is really kind of a head game, right? It's really getting past that. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I do, because that's something that I actually teach and something I say when I was with the personal training company. That's what we did. We did being like inner work. And it was based on something called ontology, which is the study of being. And so I was in that for maybe 20 years. I can't not bring that. So I like to say public speaking is an inside job. Yes, there's what to
Mm.
say and how to say it, and what do I do with my hands, and where do I look, and all the things, right? But ultimately, it is how you talk to yourself.
And what is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that you see people have when they're looking to do something like this?
They compare. They
Ooh,
compare.
oh, I didn't see that coming, but that I can totally appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, they compare. And never favorably.
Yeah, nope. Because we're always our own worst, harshest critic, right? And
Right.
things are always so much bigger than what they actually are. And
So much.
yeah. And Michael, I know he actually has a program that's once a month. He has a speaker program and gathers folks who are actually, you know what, Michael, why don't you share a little bit about what it is that you're doing with your events?
Once a month, I have people with disabilities or the people within the disabled community or their family members speak on different themes, and I come up with a theme, and then I get anywhere between 5 and 20 speakers to do 20 to 25 minutes and speak on whatever the theme is for that month.
Nice.
And do you encounter folks that you ask to speak, Michael, that end up saying, I, I know I've got information, but I can't do this. I'm too scared to speak like that. Is that something that you encounter much?
Multiple times, and I personally didn't like speaking in front of people. Like if you had me speaking to more than 5 people at a time, I didn't like it. But I've been doing this for years, so I had to definitely get used to it. But there's been people who have spoken at my events who didn't, who weren't comfortable, so they had to have like they had to do it recorded so that they were comfortable, like put it on in it, and then they knew that they weren't being watched by however many people, and then there was no Q&A, so they were safe. So I've had both.
And I can appreciate that. That's interesting too. So they know they're going to be watched eventually,
Right.
but that gives them a chance to be in a more comfortable setting then and to record it. And if they didn't like it, they can do it over. So that's great. That's a good way to get around that piece. And you
Yeah.
know, the more
They're
times people do it, the easier it gets. That's a bonus in that process too.
they're not there, so they don't have to worry about the size of the audience as it goes on. They can just know what happened.
Mm. So, well, and Donna, is that something that you kind of see with folks too? That what I've kind of heard both things here. There's speaking in front of a small group can be intimidating. Speaking in front of a really big group can be intimidating, but there's also something about it that I've heard, the bigger it is, the more you can kind of just forget they're all there and just talk. But I don't know. Is there kind of a sweet spot on that?
I don't know. Everybody's so different, Sue.
Yeah.
I've heard people say all these things, like, the bigger the group is, the more comfortable they are because they can be kind of anonymous almost. And
Hmm.
and if it's a really big group, they're not gonna really be able to see the people because the lights are gonna be on them, and it's hard for them to see anybody if they can even see the first few rows. But there's also this theory that I have too, when people are nervous to speak, and I've heard it said that the number of people from like 1 to 50 or 10, no, 10 to 50 is the worst. It's the scariest. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe because it's more intimate, but that's what people I think are afraid of. And since we're all connected as human beings, I feel like the more people there are, the more that reflects their unease. And that's why they get so uncomfortable, and then they get disconnected from what they want to say, disconnected from their message. They're probably not sufficiently prepared because hardly anybody ever is. And then they're freaked and they don't want to do it, or they think they can't do it. Sometimes people think they have to talk about something that somebody wants them to talk about or asks them to talk about. But no, especially if you're freaked out, you talk about what you know. Those people that get hired to talk about something, like say to a corporation or for a conference, these are very, very high level people that are professional speakers. This is not me and you. This is not most people. People should talk about what they know.
So what kind of variety have you had then? And I know you've done a lot of speaking, and have you, I don't know how many people get the chance to be in front of really big audiences, but is that something that's been in part of your past?
I wouldn't say it's not really big, no, but more than 50.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
consider that big. That's
Yeah, more than
awesome.
50. But yeah. I mean, big enough where I could still see them, not be blinded by the lights.
The most I've
I haven't had one of those yet. What's that, Michael?
the most I've ever spoken to is like 1 or 200, but
Yeah.
I definitely felt myself having to concentrate and look at like one person that was in the front row that I knew so that I could like drown out everyone else.
Yeah, there's all kinds of tips and techniques and tricks and things people can do. That's certainly one of them. Find the
Yes.
friendly faces.
So, oh, and I know you were in Toastmasters. Are you still part of Toastmasters now?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually in a special one of a kind of a group. It's it's for people that speak professionally. And so we
Oh,
get to do longer talk times, and we get to practice our professional speaking. So yeah, and I'm actually the president of my club right now, but yeah, I'm still
oh,
in it.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
so can you give us a feeling for what is that like? Because I know I happen to have a friend locally here that's in Toastmasters, which I think is amazing because he's a gentleman that is also very much an introvert. Never in a million years would have thought he'd be somebody who would enjoy that, and he loves it. And I love hearing about it. Not everybody maybe knows what Toastmasters is. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. It's called Toastmasters International, and it's not called Public Speaking Clubs. It's actually called Communication and Leadership. And so, but the way that plays out is it's worldwide, and it shows up like a club, here, there, everywhere. I mean, we have dozens of them in the Denver metro area where I am. They're all over. They're worldwide, and there's all people can participate at any kind of level they want to. If they want leadership, can we want to participate at that level? There, that's available. If they just want to be a regular Toastmaster member and show up and give some speeches, or maybe a regular club will have lots of small roles, and so that gives a lot of different people opportunities to do something in front of the room regularly.
Excellent. So, because
Yeah.
how big with a typical club? I don't know if there is such a thing as a typical club. How often does a person have a turn? Do they? I'm assuming not everybody speaks every time.
It depends on the size of the club. Yeah, it really does depend on the size of the club. Like ours, the people speak anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes, but that's unique to my club just because of the weird nature of it. Most clubs, the normal amount of time would be 5 to 7 minutes. And they meet anywhere, usually they're every week or every other week. So they, again, it depends on the club, and they're as different as a family, every group, but they all have something in common. And you already were pointing to it. Very, very supportive. And they have your back. You couldn't have a better bunch of people rooting for you.
And I think that is so important. If you can
Mhm.
find a group like that, whatever your passion is, whatever you want to do, if you can get with other like-minded people who have your best interest in mind, because obviously when you're in a group like that, you're there for a reason. You want to do this, you want to get better, you want to practice to be able to practice something like public speaking or communication. You have to find a place to be able to do that, and it's something that it's out there, it exists. It's something like Toastmasters is there as an option, and I think that is what's brilliant about what's out and about you. Whatever you're looking for, whatever your passion is, there's probably a group out there somewhere where you can plug in and find the support, find the connections, and be able to get better at it yourself with whatever that is.
Pretty much.
So what is one of your favorite tips that you can give people when it comes to if somebody all of a sudden has that chance, like, oh, I was asked to speak in front of my church and I'm not comfortable or whatever the group is there something that is a favorite pointer or two that you can share to help them ease their nerves a bit?
Yes. So I will share with you the 3 Ps. You'll see why I'm laughing in a minute. Practice, practice, practice. So their preparation is everything. And, it's not sexy, but neither is showing up in front of your audience and forgetting what to say, or having like uncontrollable nervous body sensations, or just all the things that can happen when you're so nervous or underprepared. Practice, practice, practice.
I can appreciate that. The more comfortable you are with the words you're going to say, the more you've rehearsed that, the more it's just going to flow, and you'll be that one less thing that's going to throw you off. You're not so much thinking about what was my message? What was I going to say? How's this going to go? If you can be prepared and ready for what's next, that makes all the difference.
All the difference. And nobody knows what you're going to say. So then there's that. So
And really then
good.
I was going to say, if you make a mistake, they're not going to know unless you somehow tell them. If you're like, oh wait, that's
Right.
not, just go with the flow, keep it going. That makes a
Yes,
difference.
it totally does. There's a quote I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's by Charlie Bird Parker, and he says something like, and this had to do with playing music. But you learn the notes, you learn the piece, you practice, you do all the things that you do to get ready, and then you just wail when the time comes.
Excellent. Well, and I know before I forget to ask, can you tell us, I'm assuming you have a website. What is your
Mhm.
website?
It's actually my name, donnaricardo.com. 2 C's in my last name, DONNARICCARDO.com.
Excellent.
And
Well,
I'm on all the regular places too, like, all the other places.
so if people look for you, you're findable. And my goodness,
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled to have had a chance to have you on here to know you a bit more here with Red Stiletto. And Donna, this has been a real pleasure. My name again is Sue Roscoff. Michael, always good to see you. And for all of us here with Ability MKE Now, we thank you.